Hi, and welcome back to Yoga with Tim. Today I'm here with Stacy, and Stacy's going to be demonstrating the poses while I tell you how to do them. Let's begin with a seated meditation, just to center ourselves, ground ourselves for the practice. So sit in a comfortable seat. We're both sitting on blocks so that our pelvis can be more upright and we're sitting up straight. But you could sit on a cushion or whatever, but I recommend to sit up on something unless you can sit in lotus easily. Sit up straight and tall, close your eyes, and start to shift your focus inward. So give yourself just a few moments here to empty. Empty physically, empty emotionally, empty psychically. And then start to notice the sensation of your breath, where you feel your breath expanding from in your body. Then open your eyes, keep your focus inward, and come into child's pose. With your knees together and your arms stretched back, let your head release towards the floor. Then come up onto your hands and your knees. Round your back and look back at your navel as you exhale. Inhale, arch your back and wheel your chest forward. Again, exhale to round your back. Start from your pelvis and then like a wave rolling through the spine, let the back start to round. And as you inhale, again from the pelvis, start to tip the sit bones up and then let the spine go into extension. Then come into neutral, hold in your neutral position, and one leg at a time, step back into plank. So as you step into plank, press down through the four corners of your hands, and then imagine from the very center of your hand, like you're drawing up into your inner shoulder, and I want you to make the inner shoulders more open, wider, the collarbones, but then make sure that your middle is in sync. Two more breaths here. Keep pressing down through the hands. Feel your core turn on to support the length of your spine. And then keeping your toes curled under, set your knees down and slowly start to stretch back with the toes curled under into modified child's. But let's keep the connection of the hands. So grow your side body longer through the reach of your arms instead of shrinking to sit the hips back further. Then reach through your crown forward, maybe even tip the gaze forward just slightly and walk your hands over to the right. And feel the stretch in your left side ribs. Keep stretching the sit bones back towards your heels. Come back to center and walk your hands over to the left. Come back to center. Then stretch back into downward dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Put a little bend in your knees and let your head drop. Then slowly roll yourself up to stand one vertebra at a time. All right, so as you stand in mountain, focus on your big toe mound, and I want you to open up the whole print of your big toe mound into the floor. So visualize, like, you know how you have all the little lines in your fingerprint. Visualize the ball of the big toe, all those prints opening up into the floor. And then at the same time, lift through your inner arches all the way up through your spine. Feel your spine nice and long and tall. Stretch from your hips down into your feet, and also feel the pinky toe start to open, pinky toe mound, the center of your heel. And then mostly the hips and the thighs, they want to kind of sink forward. So I want you to draw the thighs back into position so that it feels like there's buoyancy for the pelvis. The legs feel like they're more active, because this is like dull, lazy legs, versus like Stacy's, the legs look very active and she's reaching and opening up through the feet. And when you reach to the feet like that, especially the big toe mound, you'll feel the inner legs start to turn on. And that's important that we take just a little bit of focus to turn on the legs. Okay, now spread your arms out to the side, rotate the arms externally, and raise the arms all the way up to the ceiling, opening up the top ribs as you reach the arms. Then with a little bend in the knees, fold forward, spread the arms out to the side, tip from your hips. Inhale into a flat back, elongate. Then step back one leg at a time into plank pose. So your plank, better term for plank would be like downward facing staff pose, Adho Mukha Dandasana. Because I want you to try to find, like, imagine you had a stick from your tailbone all the way to the crown of your head. So don't sink, don't round. Keep that activity, and let me see if you can maintain the danda spine as you bring your right knee up to your chest. Press through the four corners of the hands. Lift up from the center into the inner shoulders. Change legs. Bring your left knee up. Still keeping the danda spine. Change legs, right knee up. Change legs, left knee up. Nice, and stretch that leg back. Set your knees down, lower down onto your belly. Stretch your arms all the way forward. Press the pinky finger side of the hand down and roll the outer shoulders down towards the floor. Now get as long as you can. Stretch past your fingers, past your toes. Then bend the arms out to the side like goalpost arms. Spread from the center, backs of the shoulders into the elbows. And imagine like you had walls coming in on your forearms as you're pushing out. Then stretch both arms straight back behind you and start to reach your collarbones forward, head up. Press the tops of the feet down, lift the inner kneecaps, and turn on your leg muscles. Then bring your hands underneath your elbows. Lower the middle chest down, press up on the hands and knees with your danda spine still. And stretch back into downward dog. Then raise your right leg up from the inner thigh. Keep stretching your hips evenly away from your wrists. As you exhale, bring your knee to your chest, shift into plank, and pull up. Inhale, reach back into three-legged dog. Exhale, bring your knee to your chest, shift into plank. One more time. Inhale, reach back into three-legged dog. Exhale, shift into plank, pull your knee up to your chest, and step your foot all the way up by your right thumb. Then come up onto your fingertips. Start to reach your chest forward. And without leaning off from the midline, keep the danda feeling through your spine as you stretch one arm back behind you, and then the other. You might have to lift the chest up just a little bit so you recreate the danda, the tadasana feeling from your back ankle all the way out through your crown. Then lower your left hand down to the mat, turn your chest, take your right arm up. Instead of rounding over to get the hand down, keep reaching forward through your thoracic spine, neck long. tail reaching straight back. Bring your right hand down to the mat and step back into plank pose. Chest open, find the danda, and slowly stretch back into down dog. Now in down dog, try to move your chest as close as you can to the floor and stretch your heels to the floor. No, wait, that's nothing that I've ever said, ever. People always message me on Instagram, I could get my chest closer to the floor, I got my heels. I'm like, who the frick ever told you to do that? Okay, so in down dog, you want to be stretching your sternum towards your thumbs, just like you would in mountain pose. You don't want your sternum to try to move down. That'd be like me doing mountain pose like this. That would look ridiculous. Okay, so then the other thing is you want to be lifting your hips up and away from your wrist. And then if you can keep the hips lifting up and start to stretch the backs of the legs so that the heels move closer towards the floor, that's okay. But the goal is not to try to get the heels down to the floor. Now raise your left leg up, maintaining this. Stay even across your hands. Exhale, bring your knee to your chest, shift into plank pose. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, shift into plank, pull your knee up. Inhale, reach back up. Last one, exhale, shift into plank, pull your knee up. Step your foot all the way up by your thumb. Come up on your fingertips, engage your left outer hip, and as you lengthen out through the midline, stretch one arm back without leaning to the side, and then the other. Feel the stretch through your back leg and lengthen all the way through your crown through the back ankle line as you set your right hand down, twist, take your left arm up. Good, then bring your left hand back down to the mat, step back into plank pose. Then set your right elbow down and then your left. Plank on your forearms. Look for the danda feeling again. And then see if you can maintain it as you raise your right leg just 1 inch. Don't let the butt tuck. Keep lengthening through the tip of the tail, but don't let your belly sink. Change legs, left leg up just 1 inch. Then set your left foot down, take your feet outer hips distance apart, and angle your left forearm in halfway as you open up into side plank. Take your right arm up. Press down through your feet, activate your core, and then grow long in between your ankles. Now if this is too much on your shoulder, you feel like it's pulling in a weird way on your shoulder, then you don't have to do it. Just set your knee down, do side plank with one hand, one knee down instead. Then slowly bring your right elbow back down and change sides. Spin the heels over to the right. Slowly bring your left elbow back down. Hold there. Press the forearms down. Now if you can work the arms so that the wrist goes straight ahead and rotate the upper arms externally, then do that. But keep your middle up. Press down in between your big toe mound, second toe mound. Firm your legs. Lift your inner thighs up. Thighs up higher. Tail long, belly up. Then slowly, with control, lower your pubic bone towards the floor. And then breathe all the way down towards your pelvis. Imagine you could balloon the lungs all the way down towards your belly. That's not really what lungs do, but this feeling like you could breathe all the way down into there. And then come back into plank on your forearms. Come up into plank on your hands. Stretch back into down dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Oh dang, it's getting real now. Inhale, come all the way up, spread your arms out to the side. Reach up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, flat back, elongate. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Hold in your plank, shoulders right over the heel of the hand, press through the four corners of the hands. Now maintaining your danda spine, could you lift your right leg 1 inch without sinking or twisting? Change legs, raise the left leg just 1 inch. Keep your belly up, keep your chest open. Change legs. Change legs. Good, then set that foot down and stretch back into downward facing dog. Inhale into plank pose. Good, then come into upward facing dog variation with the knees down. Lower the knees, roll the shoulders back, and then start to roll the chest through the arms. Good, breathe all the way down into your lower back again. And then see if you can keep the length out of the lower back, the buttock flesh reaching towards the heels as you lift the knees up. Try not to lose the length in the lower back. If you feel like the lower back hinges to do that, that means that you're not open enough in the hips. Then stretch back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, make a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose, bend your knees, sit your hips back, raise your arms. Press up to stand, Samasthiti. Inhale into chair pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank pose, one leg at a time. Stretch back into down dog. Step your right foot up by your right thumb. Lower your left knee down. Press down through your left shin. Inhale, come up, raise your arms. Then lift up from your back ribs, out of your lower back, up through the reach of your hands. And as you're holding here, visualize like you had a band from your left inner thigh going up into your lower back. And you're trying to stretch that band as tall as you can, down through the thigh, through the reach of the left knee, and up through the lift of the side ribs, through the reach of the fingers. Then bring your hands back down to the mat. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee. Step back into plank, chest open. Stretch back into dog. Step your left foot up by your left thumb. Lower your back knee. Inhale, raise your arms up. Then second thing that I want you to visualize is your arms starting all the way from down here in your sacrum lower back. So I want you to start to fan out the sacrum lower back, back bottom ribs, side ribs, like they're all wrapping out this way and then up into your arms. And then integrate the idea of the psoas stretching from the front inner hip, grow tall as you fan out in the lower back. Fan out. That's also a term that when you see somebody that you really like in public and you get weird about it. That happened to me when I was surfing the other day and I saw a surfer like I totally fanned out. Okay, bring your hands back down. If you're not sure what that means, that's what that means. Step back into down dog. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. You can share your fan out experience below. Inhale into the flat back as you lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose, bend your knees, sit your hips back. Stand and release your arms at your side. tree pose. Bring your right heel up onto the inside of your left thigh. Now before we get excited with the arms, take a moment just to get even into the roots of your left foot. Visualize the four corners of your left foot descending. Then take your arms forward straight out in front of you and start to raise your arms. But again, visualize the arms originating from the lower back. Open up the lower back from the sacrum lower back. Fan out the ribs. That's a little one. Then slowly lower your leg, lower your arms. And then we'll change sides. Bring the left heel up onto the inside of the right thigh. Take a moment to get as even as you can into your right foot. Then take both arms forward. And slowly start to raise your arms up, but stay connected even into that right foot. And make sure that your waist doesn't project forward at all as the arms go up. So keep opening up your lower back with the reach of the arms. Your body will find ways to cheat. It wants to cheat to do a lot of the yoga poses. So we have to practice integrity while we're in the pose. Make sure we're opening up from the right places. Slowly bring your arms back down and your leg back down. Good. Inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog. Then shift into plank and bring your right knee up to your chest. Ooh, it's the knee up challenge. Here we go. Hips low, but knee high. Knee high. Pull the knee up. Push down with the hands. Ooh, pull that sucker up. And then lift your foot all the way up by your thumb. Good. Then turn your back heel down for warrior two. Press to your feet and come on up to stand. A great stance to practice, although it's not a classic stance, to help to open up the hips and the lower back, especially if you have lower back stuff or you have tight hips and hamstrings, is to take the feet, instead of on a tightrope like heel to arch, like is classically suggested, instead to take the feet a little wider, like heel to heel or even wider than that. And that should, if you play with that, it might give you a feeling of more openness in the pelvis, sacrum, lower back. Then bring your right forearm onto your thigh and take your left arm all the way over your ear. Press to your feet and come back up into warrior two. Then straighten your right leg except for a little micro bend. And then start to tip from your hips and reach out over your right leg. And you could use a block or you could place your hand on your shin, whatever you like. Now take a moment, bring your awareness down into your feet again. Can you press into the four corners of your feet? And then from the center of your feet, draw energy up the hip, into the hip sockets, up into the top ribs, and open and expand the top two ribs. Reach down evenly through your feet, press through the feet and come back up. Then bend your right knee for warrior two. Bring your hands down to the mat. Step back into down dog. Shift into plank pose and pull the left knee up to your chest. Hike that sucker up. Tuck the buttock under, hips low, knee higher. Push the floor down with your arms. Spread your blades, pull up. Step your foot all the way up by your thumb. Nice. Then turn the back heel down. Come up into Vira 2. Press to your feet, lift from your belly. Then slow and controlled, tip from your pelvis and bring your left elbow down onto your thigh. Reach your right arm all the way over. Reach back down to the four corners of your back foot. Often we get excited by the movement going over and we lose the connection of the back leg. So equally, focus on stretching from your back hip, back leg into the mat as much as you're focused on reaching with your right arm overhead. Then press into your feet, come back to Warrior 2. Straighten your left leg except for a little micro bend, and then start to reach out for triangle. Stay in that back foot as you're reaching out. And then just notice the energy of the spine. However low Stacy goes, she's still reaching her spine forward in the direction of the crown of her head, instead of trying to go down towards the floor or pull up to the ceiling. Those are two common misconceptions about triangle, trying to reach up or trying to... Instead, she's reaching equally up and down with the arms, and arms away from the midline, and then she's elongating straight out through the crown. The press in the feet is even, all four corners of the feet descending. Then press strong through your feet and come back up. Bend your left knee. Hands to the mat. Step back into down dog. Good, then let's do this shoulder mobility exercise, which is super important, building strength and mobility in your shoulders. Shift into plank pose. All right, so we're going to retract the scapula for a moment. So I want you to imagine you're sinking into your shoulder blades, like what we never really want to do in our plank, and then spread your scapula as much as you can. And then slowly let yourself sink into the scapula, into the shoulder blades. They come towards each other on your back. And then spread. Good, 40 more times. Sink into the shoulder blades, but not into the wrist. Arms active still. And then spread. Good. And then stretch back to down dog. Now notice Stacy put her knees down for the last one because she could feel that she wasn't able to stay with the back muscles anymore, so she set the knees down. If you have to do it with the knees down for a while, that's better than like if you can feel yourself sinking into it. So always listen to your body, and if you feel like I can't do it well anymore, then just modify. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale into chair pose, bend your knees, sit your hips back. Then take your arms forward, straight out in front of you. And from here, we're going to slowly drop it to the flow. So lift the heels up, and then lower the buttocks all the way down, and come into boat pose. Nice. Good. Let's do it with the knees bent for the normal average person. Okay, so with your knees bent, see if you can lift up through your lower back and open up your chest. Press down through the tailbone, sit bones. Good, and keeping your knees bent through this transition, slowly lower your sacrum lower back to the floor, and then bring the legs right into tabletop position. Inhale your head down, arms up for a second. Then slide your fingers behind your ears, and as you exhale, curl up, but stretch your hips, buttocks away from the back of your skull as you curl up, like your hips are being pulled out of your lower back. Reach them out of your back. Then push your right heel forward, Push straight out, keep your abs in tight. And slowly change legs. Push the left heel, keep the abs in. Ooh, curl up off your shoulders, but keep stretching the back of the skull. Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Change legs. Good, now see if you can raise that extended leg halfway from the floor and then stretch the other leg out to meet it. And hold for 5, 4, 3, ooh, stay crunched up, 2, 1.5. Hug your knees into your chest. All right. Good, then put the feet down on the floor. Lift your hips up. Grab a hold of the sides of your sticky mat and start to gently pull out with the sticky mat to activate your arm muscles. Now release the sticky mat and turn the thumbs out, but keep the arms actively reaching. Reach the shoulder heads down, the upper arms down. And as you press through the four corners of your feet, feel your outer hips pin in and then start to lift you higher, but keep stretching the outer hips out of the lower back. And lower your hips back down. Open your arms out to the side. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. And slowly let your hips go, or your legs go over to the left. Bring your legs back to center. Change the cross. And take the legs over to the right. Come back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. Now I didn't mention this at the beginning, but if you have a strap or a band or an extra t-shirt or something nearby, take that and then loop it around your right foot and stretch your right leg straight up towards straight. But with your left knee bent, left foot on the floor, as you start to stretch this leg towards straight, equal effort in reaching up straight through the foot as the same as you're dropping your right thigh down into the hip socket. And also, imagine that you had a friend right here to start to release your hip crease down, so it feels like both hips are releasing out of your waist evenly. Then stretch your left leg out along the floor. But go slow so you could feel that both hips are continuing to release out of your lower back even. We should make that strap video. Yeah. Maybe next week you could see the strap video on how to do the strap thing. I think so. Release and change sides. So start with the left leg, stretching the left leg towards straight, release it into the hip socket, both hips out of your back. And then start to stretch the right leg out along the floor. If you can't get the leg all the way up straight, that's fine. You can keep it lowered away from you a little. Or if you don't feel much stretch holding it straight up, you can start to bring the leg closer towards you as long as you don't let the pelvis torque twist to do it. Okay, then release that and take happy baby. Then stretch your legs out along the floor, one at a time for Savasana, corpse pose. So just let go now. Let your body drop into the mat. Surrender the feet and the legs. Let go of the tension in your hips and your abdomen. Let the chest muscles open. Let the shoulders relax. Empty the jaw, the tongue. Let the muscles in your face relax. Let go completely. And just like we started, come back to the breath. Feel the breath in your body. And tune into the sensation in your body. Then take a slightly fuller, deeper breath in and out through your nose. Bend your knees. And roll over to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. Bring your palms together. Namaste. All right, well, thank you for joining us today. Hey, if you enjoyed today's video, then let me know. Hit the like button and leave a comment below. Maybe some things, requests that you want to see in the future as we're planning our videos for the spring and summer. And also subscribe to the channel so that you won't miss any future posts. Okay, we'll see you next time.